And it's time to finally take a proper look at a period of the Avengers that I've always enjoyed, though not without some major shake-ups behind the scenes. With the departure of Diana Rigg and the introduction of Linda Thorson's Tara King, the show was already facing a shift in dynamics, but that wasn't the only change. Behind the camera, things were just as turbulent. John Bryce replaced Brian Clemens and Albert Fennell as producer at the start of Series 6. And to put it politely, it didn't go well. By the time Clemens and Fennell were brought back, Bryce had only managed to complete 3 episodes, 2 of which were 90-minute specials. Invitation to a Killing, which is now a Big Finish audio, and The Great Great Britain Crime, while the third, Invasion of the Earthmen, barely made it through unscathed. All of them had serious flaws, to the point where they would have been scrapped entirely if the American contract hadn't required immediate deliveries. Instead, heavy re-edits were made to salvage what they could. The result? A bit of a mess. Welcome to the Snake Pit, where we're full of bile and venom. I'm your host, Snake Daemon, and today we're looking at the Avengers' 6th and final season, one that saw drastic production changes, some truly out-there episodes, and yet still managed to deliver a series that, despite its flaws, remains an absolute joy to watch. By 1968, the Avengers had been through multiple evolutions. It had gone from its early noir-inspired roots to the stylish high-camp spy-fi that became the signature of the show's most famous era. When Diana Rigg left, the formula that had worked so well was suddenly up in the air. British executives decided the show needed a return to realism, and so John Bryce, who had worked on the Avengers during the Cathy Gale era, was brought in to helm the transition. It did not go smoothly. Bryce cast his then-girlfriend, Linda Thorson, in the role of Tara King, a fresh, newly trained agent. Unlike previous companions, Tara was an official agent of Steed's organization, not a talented amateur. But from the very start, things weren't ideal. Bryce wanted Tara to be blonde, and the attempt to bleach Thorson's hair left it so damaged that she had to wear wigs for the first several episodes. Then there was the production itself. Bryce's early episodes were badly received by the network. Invitation to a Killing was so rough that it was chopped down and reworked into Have Guns Will Haggle. The Great Great Britain Crime was almost beyond saving, so they padded it with old footage and renamed it Homicide and Old Lace. These desperate edits were just to get episodes out the door. After a disastrous screening of these early episodes, Bryce was unceremoniously fired, and Clemens and Fennell were brought back. The difference was immediate. The first order of business? A proper introduction for Tara King? That resulted in The Forget-Me-Not, which not only gave Diana Rigg a farewell episode, but also served as a proper introduction to Tara. Even with all the chaos, Season 6 still managed to produce some absolute gems. Yes, some episodes bordered on the absurd, but that was part of the charm. Take Look. Stop me if you've heard this one, though. But there were these two fellas. An episode that embraced full-on surrealism with a plot involving killer clowns. Or Thingamajig, an episode where an electrified stone idol causes havoc. And then there's The Rotters, which sees Steed and Tara dealing with people being killed by aggressive gardening. But for every over-the-top episode, there were some genuinely great ones. The Interrogators, featuring Christopher Lee as an enemy interrogator who uses incredibly subtle psychological tricks to break spies. It's an episode that actually feels more grounded compared to the rest of the series, and Lee is phenomenal. Killer notable for being the only episode where Steed's main partner doesn't appear. Tara is off on holiday, and instead, Steed is paired with Lady Diana Forbes Blakeney, played by Jennifer Croxton. Honestly, Croxton could have made an interesting long-term partner. Had the show continued into another season, Wish You Were Here, a rare Steed-light episode, something that happened from time to time. It's basically The Prisoner, but with more wit. Fog, a brilliant spoof of Jack the Ripper stories, and one of my personal favourites. It manages to balance horror and humour in a way that only the Avengers could pull off. Game, featuring the return of Peter Jeffrey, previously seen as the chilling villain in Joker from the Emma Peel era. Here he plays the delightfully deranged mastermind who forces his victims to play deadly versions of board games. It's ridiculous, it's over the top, and I absolutely love it. You can almost see shades of future films like Saw in the concept, a villain turning games into instruments of death. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Jeffrey is having an absolute blast, chewing the scenery like he's starving, and it's one of the most entertaining episodes of the season. That said, not everything worked. Invasion of the Earthmen is a mess. Homicide and Old Lace is just painful to sit through. And Tara King never quite reached the popularity of Kathy Gale or Emma Peel, no matter how much I love her character. Fans at the time saw her as a downgrade, and while Thorson improved as the series went on, the writing didn't always do her character justice. Throughout all of this, Patrick Macnee's John Steed remained the rock of the series. Even as the show experimented with different tones, Macnee brought a level of charm and continuity that kept it from falling apart entirely. His chemistry with Thorson was different from his previous partners, but he still carried the show with ease. Despite all the behind-the-scenes chaos, The Avengers was still a massive success in Europe and the UK, but in America, not so much. ABC in the US made the genius decision, sarcasm, to air it opposite Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, the #1 show at the time. The Avengers simply could not compete. And with that, the show was cancelled in the US, which meant that British production funding disappeared. The final episode, Bizarre, ended with a fourth wall-breaking gag. Steed and Tara accidentally launched themselves into orbit aboard a rocket, while Mother looks at the camera and declares they'll be back, before realizing they're unchaperoned up there. Sadly, they weren't back. At least, not for a while. The new Avengers tried to recapture the magic in the 70s, but let's be honest, it was never quite the same. Thanks for dropping by the Snake Pit, where we thrive on untapped potential and lost opportunities. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, like the video, and leave your opinions in the comments, where, naturally, I won't read them. Until next time, stay venomous.